Every gardener knows the frustration of waiting for compost to break down. You pile up the scraps, water it, turn it, and still, months pass before you have anything resembling that rich, black humus. For many, it feels like a slow and endless process. But what if there was a simple addition, one single thing you could add that dramatically cuts that waiting time down? Gardeners for generations have relied on this overlooked accelerator, and once you know how it works, you'll never make a pile the slow way again. The hidden accelerator in the compost pile. The secret is nitrogen, but not just in the broad sense. Every compost pile already has a balance of browns and greens, but when you add a highly available, fast-releasing source of nitrogen, the transformation speeds up almost overnight. The one thing that changes the game is urine. It might sound unusual, but this nitrogen-rich addition has been a trusted compost activator for centuries. During wartime Britain, compost privies were encouraged as a way to recycle household waste, and the science still holds today. Urine contains urea, which breaks down rapidly into ammonium carbonate, a compound that jump-starts microbial activity in the pile. Without enough nitrogen, compost microbes simply cannot multiply at the speed needed to break down tough carbon materials like leaves, cardboard or straw. By adding urine, you instantly feed those microbes the fuel they need to explode in population, and that surge in activity generates the heat that cooks a pile fast. Why urine works better than other nitrogen boosters? Gardeners often turn to materials like grass clippings, coffee grounds or manure to add nitrogen. These all work, but they break down at different rates. Manure can be slow unless it's fresh, and grass clippings tend to mat down and suffocate airflow if too much is added. Coffee grounds are a steady trickle of nitrogen, but not strong enough to transform a pile quickly. Urine, on the other hand, is almost immediately available to microbes. It's sterile when fresh, odourless if used properly, and provides exactly what the pile is missing. To put it into perspective, fresh urine contains about 10 parts nitrogen for every 1 part phosphorus and 4 parts potassium. That makes it stronger than most common green materials. So, adding about a half litre to a dry, sluggish compost pile can, really boost microbial activity within just 24 hours. Whereas, if you rely on coffee grounds or leaves alone, you might be waiting weeks before you see any real results. Now, when it comes to adding urine, it's important to do it correctly to avoid any problems. The key to using urine in compost is, honestly, all about balance. Too much at once will overwhelm the pile, making it smell strongly of ammonia, and, well, it might even repel microbes rather than encourage them. The best practice really is to dilute it. A ratio of 1 part urine to 10 parts water is ideal for soaking into a pile. This way you're hydrating and feeding the compost at the same time. For example, if you've got a 3-foot by 3-foot pile that's mostly dry carbon materials like shredded leaves or straw, 1 litre of diluted urine poured evenly across the top once a week will keep the decomposition humming along. But if the pile already has plenty of kitchen scraps or fresh greens, you can reduce the application to once every 2 weeks. The trick is to provide just enough fuel without flooding the system. So let's talk about the results you can expect from using this method. Gardeners who add this one thing to their compost, well, they notice an almost immediate change. Within just a few days, the pile begins to heat up, sometimes reaching 140 degrees Fahrenheit right in the core. That's really the sweet spot for breaking down those tough fibres and, importantly, killing off weed seeds. What would normally take 4 to 6 months can be ready in half that time, or even less. A fall pile that might have lingered until spring can actually be finished by late winter, producing that crumbly, earthy compost that plants just love. In practical terms, this means, faster cycles of fertility. Instead of waiting nearly a year to recycle your garden waste, You can turn it into usable soil food in just a few months. Adding this method to your regular compost routine, well, that's where the magic happens. The beauty of this method is that it doesn't replace the basics, it enhances them. You still want a balanced mix of browns like leaves, paper or straw, and greens like food scraps and clippings. You still want to turn the pile occasionally for air, and you still need moisture. What this trick does is make those other efforts pay off a whole lot faster. By feeding the microbes directly with a quick nitrogen shot, you ensure the pile doesn't stall or sit cold. For gardeners with limited space, this can make all the difference. A small compost bin that normally struggles to generate enough heat can suddenly stay active and productive with this addition. On larger homestead piles, it reduces the time and labour spent managing slow breakdown, turning what used to feel like a waiting game into a reliable system. Composting doesn't have to be a test of patience. The reason so many gardeners give up on it is because the process feels painfully slow. But with one simple natural addition, you can unlock the speed and efficiency that microbes are capable of. Urine has been used for centuries as a fertilizer and compost accelerator, and modern gardeners can put that knowledge back to work. It's free, it's effective, and when applied correctly, it transforms composting from a long wait into a quick reward. If you found this method useful and want more proven soil-building shortcuts, make sure to subscribe to Soil Doctor and share this video with other gardeners. The more we return to these time-tested methods, the richer and healthier our soil becomes.